All right, hello everyone. I'm just changing my setup a little bit so that I can be in the picture here. Okay. All right. So I do see people coming in. Just let me get all the digital stuff working, and then we can get started right away. Okay. All right. Let me just get my slide here. Let me get the Q&A out. All righty. Okay, so we will get started right away because I was in a meeting until a little bit earlier and it ran a little bit long. So I want to make sure that we're staying on track here as far as time. Okay, so my name is Coach David. I am going to be helping you and I will be your guide on this kind of financial aid journey with Financial Aid Secrets, part of Eagle Lock, right? Now, you guys might be thinking, what is Eagle Lock, right? I thought this was College Admission Secrets, right? So just like Prince, we are Eagle Lock, formerly known as College Admission Secrets, okay? We changed our name, right? Now, for those that haven't seen kind of like what our name means, right? If you actually look at that word Eagle Lock down in that right-hand corner, you'll actually see if you flip it around, it actually spells college. Okay. Once you see it, you can never unsee it again. You will always associate our Eagle Lock name with college. Okay. So just like how we are cracking that code for you, we want to make it easier for your student to get to the colleges that they want. Right. We also want to make sure that you are saving money as you're doing it. So today, as part of Financial Aid Secrets, we are going to be doing a presentation on outside scholarships and financial aid, okay? It is January 29th, right after 5 p.m. If you guys can help me out by putting your student's grade into the chat, right? I will make sure to kind of help you guys out as we're going through to like kind of see exactly what information is relevant to you guys and also try to add in tidbits as we go along. Okay. So if you guys can do that for me, that'd be great. Okay. Now, today, we're going to talk about what outside private scholarships are, right? I'm also going to talk about how they will affect your financial aid and also what to keep in mind as you're looking for them. Okay. Now, as far as our kind of like replays, right? Because I know a lot of our families are like, oh my God, I really enjoyed what you guys talked about today. Do you have a replay? Yes, we always have replays. As you know, when you entered this room, it said recording in progress. Okay. We are recording this, right? So if you are in our Facebook group, right, we will have a post in Facebook about our financial aid kind of replay, right? You can go ahead and respond there. And then either myself or Coach Joanna will reach out to you guys with the replay and provide that to you guys, right? Now, if you're one of our coaching families, this will be posted on our private YouTube channel in 24 to 48 hours. I'd probably say closer to 48 because our team does need to render everything, things like that, okay? So it might take a little bit longer for Facebook, but on our YouTube, it'll be about 24 to 48 hours. Okay. Now, a little bit about me. My name's Coach David, right? I used to be a reader for college and law school admissions, right? I did go to law school, right? I am a former lawyer, right? I worked at companies, overseas. One that you might know, I actually worked on the global legal affairs team at Samsung, right? You know, the people that make your phones and your TVs, right? So I worked on a lot of consumer affairs there, right? And I've also been working in financial aid for the past 16 years. Okay. I've saved families millions of dollars. I do want to make sure that I can do that for your family as well, right? Maybe not millions of dollars, but collectively as a group, my hope is that over the next few years, I'm going to be able to save families millions and millions. Okay. So I think this is a part that a lot of our families actually wait for, right? And it is financial aid news, right? Breaking news, right? And I always like to bring up new things that are happening in financial aid because I do think that families are, I mean, this isn't something that you're searching on your Google search bar very often, but I actually am, right? Because I want to know what's going on. I want to make sure that I am on the kind of forefront of the kind of financial aid battles that we have to face, right? So here is kind of something new that just happened on Monday. Okay. On Monday, the White House ordered a pause on federal grants and loans, right? Now, their language was pretty broad and their language was pretty ambiguous, right? But what they said is, oh, it's not going to affect student loans or financial aid for college, right? Especially like one of the kind of the grants that comes out from the federal government is the federal Pell Grant for lower income students, right? And direct loans, right? They're saying it's not going to affect that, so don't worry about it, right? But who knows what's actually going to happen, right? As a result of other things that they do, I do think that there's going to be a delay in students getting their money, right? So the language says that it does not freeze money that is given directly to individuals, but very rarely is money ever given directly to individuals. Instead, it's given to the school and then it's dispersed by the school into your account. So if we look at the intricacies, and I guess I'm looking at the kind of fine print because, again, I come from a legal background, right? If they are going to kind of put a pause or a freeze on all the financial aid that's going to the colleges and then being dispersed by the colleges, right? Which could happen because that's not money going directly to an individual. There is a chance that students are going to have to wait an extended period of time or they're not going to get certain things. Now, the administration has said, oh, that's not what's going to happen. Don't worry about it. But I know better than to trust what a government says, right? Because over the past 2 or 3 years, it has been a complete cluster, right, of chaoticness that has happened with everything dealing with financial aid. Okay. So that's one piece of news there, right? Another piece of news, right? I do know that a lot of our families are in that kind of like Los Angeles or Ventura counties, right? Now, obviously, they're still dealing with fires, right? I know that it has been raining a little bit, so hopefully that has helped the situation. But because of those Southern California wildfires, financial aid deadlines have been pushed back a little bit, right? So if you live in one of those counties and you are kind of affected by that, you weren't able to turn in things yet, don't worry too much. The California Student Aid Commission has pushed back the deadlines for FAFSA and other financial aid forms due to those fires. Okay, so obviously our prayers and thoughts are still out there with those dealing with the aftermath of those kind of deadly fires. Okay, so before we go into kind of what we're going to go in today, right? Fair warning, right? I always tell my families, right? If you are driving around in a Ferrari or Lamborghini or Bugatti or whatever other kind of thing that you have, right? That is kind of like uh, unreachable by the normal person, right? I probably cannot help you, right? But if you are not in that situation, you probably need to stay tuned to today's kind of session because I'm going to give you some tools so that you can better understand the battle that you're going to have to face with financial aid. Okay. It is my hope that through kind of our trainings, right, that parents and families are able to kind of save money on college, right? So that you don't have to dip into your 401k, so that you don't have to take a, a home equity loan, right? Those are all things that I want to try help families avoid, okay, during this process. All right. So with that, let me take a drink of water real quick. Let us go into what an outside or private scholarship is, right? The first thing is, what are they, right? And the other one is, where do you find them, right? So when you're thinking about outside scholarships, it's very simple to think about them as like the Facebook scholarship, the Coca-Cola scholarship, Microsoft, Google, IBM, all those big companies that have those scholarships, because literally every single person does have one, right? These are the ones that most people think of, right? Now, Facebook or Coca-Cola or Microsoft, it's like, yeah, like it's a full, full ride, like $100,000 a year scholarship for 4 years, right? It seems great, right? But a lot of people miss out on smaller ones because there are local ones, right? Think your local Rotary Club or Lions Club or your city, right? Those are the ones that are more reachable, right? But generally speaking, outside or private scholarships are ones that are not linked to the colleges that you are applying to. They're their own entities. Okay. Now, when we're talking about kind of money for college, there's two kind of bags that you have, right? One is kind of like institutional aid, right? Institutional aid is from the state government, federal government, and then the college that you're going to. Outside or private scholarships are from these kind of other companies or organizations that are outside the kind of colleges. Okay. So the first thing is, where should you look, right? So there are a lot of different places that you can go and look for scholarships, right? So you should be searching kind of like on different sites, right? So one that a lot of our students go to is bold.org. So the lists are down there, right? Scholarship Owl, Go Mary, or even College Board has a list and kind of database of scholarships that are out there, right? Now, when you are searching, you should be searching kind of like different things about yourself, right? Related to the achievements that you've had in involvement, leadership, talents, or background, right? Now, when you're searching, you can't just search for like a specific thing, right? I'm sure there's those people out there. It's like you're trying to find the answer to something on Google, and it's like I'm trying to find the answer to like, oh, like the world championship um winner for I don't know, table tennis in 1936, right? And they'll type in like world championship table tennis 1936, and then they'll type in table tennis 1936 world championship, right? Just because you change the kind of order of the words doesn't mean you're going to get different search results. So you need to be taught, you need to be looking at different variations of your keyword, right? So if you're doing something like surfing, okay, you might want to search up water sports or body surfing or surfboards or I don't know, ocean, right? Like you want to look up other words that are related to it. The reason is because all the different scholarships use very specific language, right? And if they do, if you're only searching up one word, you might miss out on one that does apply to you, right? You also want to kind of see if you can add in your location to your searches to find scholarships in your local area because again, local scholarships are looking for students from their area, right? So I live in a small enclave of the kind of Bay Area called Walnut Creek, right? So if I was looking for something that is related to dog owners that live in Walnut Creek, then I'd want to add those two things together. I have two pups, right? So dog owner plus Walnut Creek, right? So those two things together, it's going to give me a more specific search result. Okay. So it's about how you search, okay, which is also an important piece of the puzzle. Okay. Now, you should also look at other resources too. So like we talked about local community organizations like that Rotary Club or, Chamber of Commerce, right? Professional organizations, right? Maybe, maybe one of the parents is part of, I don't know, something that I was part of back in the day was like oh man, I forget what the name of it is. But there was like a lawyers association and this association and that association. Cultural and ethnic organizations, right? You might already be part of some, right? Your employer, as a parent, your employer also might provide scholarships as well. If you really think about that, you are cutting down the pool of people that can apply to that scholarship. So the chances are going to be higher, right? Social media, other online platforms, there might be international scholarships, college scholarships or grants, right? And then again, you have to kind of look at what they're looking at. Is it merit-based? Is it need-based? Is it major specific? Those are all things that you want to consider, right? Now, I always get this question, when is the best time to search for scholarships, right? The scholarship that I know for like the youngest student possible is like around fourth grade, right? So technically speaking, you could start searching for scholarships, college scholarships, when you're in fourth grade, right? Now, realistically, if a student's in fourth grade, the parent's probably doing most of the work, right? But right, it's still something that you can definitely reach out and try to get, right? And so what happens is like, okay, well, if you get it in fourth grade, what happens to my scholarship? Well, they'll just hold it until you're a 12th grader, and then they'll usually send you an email or something. It's like if you got it and say, hey, we realize that it is now time for you to go to college, right? Where do you want us to send the money, right? So there is no time that is too early, but right, as the student is entering high school, it might be a good time to start thinking about it, right? Now, the best time to search for scholarships, this is a kind of a pro tip here, right? From the fall to the spring, right? Now, if you really think about it, right, and I think if you do have an older student, right, that has gone off to college, think about when you searched for scholarships. You probably did it during the summer when they had more time, right? That is when more people are applying. From the fall to the spring is actually the downtime for scholarships, right? There are going to be less people applying and less people searching. So that's when you should focus on, right? During the school year, okay? That's when you're going to have the highest chances. Okay. Now, as far as strategy, right? The process is it's very similar to the college admissions process, right? There are different requirements, right? You have to write essays. You might need to fill out an application. You might need to get a recommendation letter, right? So on and so forth, right? But you need to go through that whole process in order to make sure that you have the best application possible, right? Now, one of the things that we tell our students to do is like, yeah, go and find one scholarship per week that is something that you can reach out and try to grab, right? That you do fit the requirements for. And then again, once you start doing these kind of applications over and over and over again, something that you'll realize is that a lot of the things that you write, your essays, so on and so forth, they can be recycled and reused. Okay. So if you kind of are a good organizer, you want to organize. Oh, I applied here. Here were the different things I need to turn in, right? And then here were the essays for it. And then, okay, well, oh, the next one, they're asking the exact same question. Let me just go ahead, copy and paste, and then go ahead and apply for that one. Okay. So it is something that requires a little bit of organization, but if you can, it's all a numbers game. Okay. The other thing that I will say about scholarships is that you need to be persistent, right? So, like, I had a student last year and they're like, you know what? I am going to apply for the Gates Scholarship, right? Now, for those of you that don't know, the Gates Scholarship is like a lifetime, like, education, like, scholarship. So if you decide that you're going to go to college, okay, college, right? And then if you're going to go to grad school, they even cover some of grad school, right? It's like, oh, I'm going to go to medical school. They'll cover some of medical school too. So it's a huge prize if you do win it and a huge accomplishment, right? And I was like, all right, so what else are you applying for? And like, oh, that's it. And I'm like, what? No, right? So you need to cast a wide net, okay? It's not about sharpshooting when it comes to scholarships. It's about casting a wide net, trying to drag in anything that you can, because at the end of the day, money is money, okay? So at the end here, this is what I say. It is a numbers game, right? The more applications that you turn in, the higher chances you have of getting something. Okay. Now, here are the takeaways that I have about scholarships, right? One, right? Again, I just told you guys that example, but you cannot apply for one full ride scholarship and expect to get it, right? The chances of getting a full ride scholarship from a private or outside kind of scholarship source, it's 1% of 1%, right? That's literally your chances, right? So it's 0.001% that you're going to get that. Okay. There are hundreds of thousands of students applying for that scholarship, right? Again, you need to think about it as a numbers game. Whether you get it or not, it's not about the disappointment. It's about the ones that you do get and then how much money you're stacking up for against what you actually need. Okay. So again, search far, search wide, right? Create an archive of scholarships, right? Because again, let's say you didn't get it this year. Maybe you were a little bit underqualified. That's okay, right? Because maybe you can apply for it next year after you have more qualifications and more things under your belt, right? Now, generally speaking, what I have told families is that if it's something that's less than $5,000, the win percentage, right, depending, right, but on average is about 10%. Right. So if you really think about that, right, let's say you want to get $50,000 together, right? That means that you have to win 10 $5,000 scholarships, right? In order to get in order to get 10 $5,000 scholarships, that means you need to apply to 100. Okay? So you need to work out the numbers and see what you need to be doing, right? So make sure to think about the numbers, right? The number of applications you need to turn in, the kind of win percentage that you're going to have, and also the money that is stacking on top of each other. Okay. Right. Now, before we kind of go into a deeper view, right, I do want to have a quick word from our sponsor, which is Eagle Lock, right, our kind of parent company, and we are under that as Financial Aid Secrets, right? One of the things that I do want to make sure about is this, right? So I'm helping you guys figure out a way to pay for college, right? But we need to get in first, right, to the colleges that our students really, really want, right? So we have our college application intensive that starts during April, May, and June. Okay. We have two different events, right? We have the Kickstart and we have the Accelerator. The Kickstart is a 1 day event to help our students get to a rough draft phase. Okay. Because a lot of students, they don't even have ideas when they come in. But as we go through that event, we are going to try to get them to a rough draft phase so that their ideas are on paper. And then the accelerator happens. This happens in July, August, and September, right? And during the accelerator, what we're going to do is we're going to try to get your student to a completed final draft of their main essays by the end of the weekend. Okay. So if you are interested in this, I will have a phone number that you can text later, but you can also go to www.collegeappintensive.com. Okay. So going back to this, right? So scholarships, they're good, right? If you can get them, wonderful. Having said that, right? they can also affect your financial aid. And this is what a lot of people do not consider as they are applying for these outside scholarships. Okay. So let me kind of explain to you how this works, right? So if, right, we're in a situation, right? And again, I understand how like people think because I hear about it every day when they talk about their financial aid during their consultations, right? And so I understand that a normal person would think that this is what's going to happen, right? So let's say that college costs $90,000 a year, right? And the college said, as they give you your acceptance letter, we're going to give you $35,000 a year, right? Let's say that you also applied to a bunch of scholarships and you got $15,000 from outside scholarship sources, right? So if the college costs $90,000, the full cost of attending that school for the year, right? That's books, housing, tuition, food, everything, right? $90,000, right? A normal person would think $90,000 minus $35,000 because that's what the school's going to give you, right? Minus $15,000, which is what you got from those outside scholarships. And so the kind of like out-of-pocket cost that you would need to pay per year to go to the school would be $40,000, right? Does everyone follow along? I'm going to ask for a little bit of interaction here. Does everyone follow along? Just put a quick Y or yes in the chat real quick. Okay. Does that seem good for everyone? Right? Okay. I'm seeing some Ys. I see some Ys in the Q&A. Okay. So that seems normal, right? But this is actually the math. Okay. So let's take a look at this. Total cost $90,000, financial aid $35,000, outside scholarships $15,000. This is the math. 90 minus 35 minus 15 plus 15, your out-of-pocket cost is 55. Okay? So there's all of a sudden a $15,000 increase. Like, and you might be thinking, what the heck has happened? Right? And I said, when I first saw this like 15 years ago, I thought, what the heck too? Right? And so I kind of put it like a, a reference to an old cartoon here. What in tarnation? Right? This is why it is that way. Okay. Now, I was looking for the picture that I used that showed that they actually decrease, right? But I will explain it to you. And then later on, if I can find that picture, I will bring it up again, right? But this is the situation. Let's say the total cost of attendance is $90,000. Okay, everyone understands that part. Okay, done, move on. They take out $35,000. That's the financial aid that college offered you. Okay, everyone understands that. Move on, right? And then you have the $15,000 from outside scholarships. Okay, move on, right? And then a lot of people are probably right now, it's like, why is there a plus 15,000 here, right? It doesn't make any sense. Why is it there, right? And let me tell you why it's there. The plus 15,000 is a readjustment to the financial aid, the $35,000 that they gave to you, right? Because you got money from outside scholarships, right? And so that is why your total cost is going to be $55,000. Now, here's the thing. You might think, oh, well, I got those outside scholarships. They readjusted for the outside scholarships. So now, right, it's just $35,000. That's what I got, right? But a lot of people don't think about what's going to happen in year 2 and year 3, right? So let's say that your aid, right, here, right, is $35,000. That's what they were going to give you, right? But you brought in $15,000 from somewhere else. So now the money that they need to give you is only $20,000 per year for that first year, right? What ends up happening is that $20,000 baseline, that is what you're set up as in year 2, 3, and 4, right? So that $15,000 that you got that first year from those outside scholarships, it actually ended up hurting you in years 2, 3, and 4, and you lost out on 3 years of $15,000. You lost out on $45,000. Okay. I don't know what kind of car $45,000 buys. I haven't bought a car in a long time, right? But it's some type of car. Okay. Maybe I don't know what type of car. Anyway, right? So this is the math. Now you might be thinking to yourself, oh my God, that is so mean, right? And yes, right? This is how I explain it, right? The way that colleges think about outside scholarships and financial aid is how that one cousin or that one aunt or that one uncle or relative during the holidays is with the last piece of pie. Okay. They are greedy. Okay. They want to eat all of that pie for themselves. They do not want to share. Okay. When colleges see an outside scholarship come in, they will reduce your aid so that the net effect of what they offered you is still the same. So let's say they offered you $100,000 and now you got $100,000 in outside scholarships, right? Then the net effect of what they're going to do is that they're going to make their financial aid zero because you already filled up the $100,000 that they were going to give you. Okay. So then the next question that a lot of families ask me is it even worth it to go for these outside scholarships if it's going to hurt me at the end of the day? Right. And here's my answer to that. It depends on your family situation. Okay. If your family is in a situation where you will not get any financial aid, like I can tell you straight out that your family will not qualify for any type of financial aid, then yes, it does make sense for you to do it. But if your student and your family is in a situation where I do think that you're going to get some financial aid, then it might not be in your best interest to do that, right? Now, the one thing that I will say is this: if you're applying for a $500 scholarship and you win it, and they say, "Oh yeah, we'll come to a dinner and then we're going to feed you and then we're going to give you $500 in cash," right? Well, that's not something we have to tell the colleges about, right? Or if they're gonna deposit a check into your checking account, right? Or if they're going to direct deposit to you, whatever. If it's going straight to you, it's not gonna matter, right? But as soon as a scholarship organization says, "Yeah, can you tell us what college you're going to and your student ID number?" It's game over, right? It's going to be one of those scholarships that does affect your financial aid. Okay. So one of the things that I will say is this: you need to talk to us so we can figure out what your situation is, right? Doesn't matter if you're in 8th grade or if you're in 11th grade, right? If you're in 8th grade, well, if you know that you're not going to get anything and your family's income is only going to continue going up and your family's already making $1.7 million a year, right? Well, then you're probably going to need to apply for those scholarships, those outside scholarships, because we're not going to get anything from the schools, right? But let's say that your family is not in that situation. They're making 100, 200, 300, 400, $500,000 a year. These are families that will qualify, right? And for those families, it might hurt them if they do not, or if they do apply for these outside scholarships. Okay. So I do want to make sure that our families talk to us so that we can make sure that we're in the best possible situation. Okay. We do have a question here, and I think it's kind of in line. It says, "Is there anything you can do to readjust the financial aid for year 2, 3, and 4? Can you tell the financial aid office to change it?" You can try, right? But this is what has been my kind of experience over the past decade and a half, right? The first year of your financial aid is the most important. Okay. If you don't do it right the first year, years 2, 3, and 4, you could be completely bamboozled by the financial aid office, and you can be put in a situation where you're going to have to pay full price when you shouldn't be paying full price. Okay. So the one thing I will say is that if you are a junior right now, you need to talk to me, right? If you're a senior right now and you haven't filled out any of your financial aid paperwork, you need to talk to me. And if you're a sophomore or a freshman or an 8th grader, you need to talk to me now, right? Because if you don't, if you screw up that first year, years 2, 3, and 4, it's going to be screwed up as well. Okay. Now, the reason why, like, you can reach out to them and see, right? Well, financial aid is something that's on a yearly basis, but they always look at year 1 to base everything off of, right? So let's say that year 1 and year 2, there's not really anything different on your taxes, right? Now, basically, this is why it's a hard sell. Okay, let's say that you got $10,000 in outside scholarships that first year, right? And then you were getting a total of 30 from school, but you got 10 from those outside scholarships. So the school dropped their aid to 20. You had that 10, so it was total 30 again, right? Well, the financial aid office, you know what they're going to say? Well, you got 10 last year. Why can't you get 10 this year? Right? So that's why a lot of people that are kind of in kind of the situations where they do qualify for aid, they stop going for those outside scholarships because at the end of the day, it's just more work for them and a net kind of like neutral effect, right? So financial aid offices are evil, right? I'm going to tell you this right now. They are evil, right? Their whole purpose is to disqualify you and give you as little money as possible for you to continue going to their school. Okay. So we want to make sure that we are fighting against that. Now, for those that are applying, because I did see that we had a bunch of juniors, 11th graders in the chat here. Okay. You need to start early. Okay. So for your 2024 taxes, Yeah, I know, parents, you're probably kind of squirming already because like I'm talking about something that you have to do in the next couple months, right? But over the next couple weeks, you're gonna get all your W-2s and all your, 1099s and all these different things, right? I know that I have already gotten mine, right? This is not the year to dilly-daddle if you are a class of 2026 family. You need to get your taxes done quick, okay? The reason is because this is the timeline, right? Our taxes are due by 2020, like April 15th, 2025, right? Then senior year starts, and then we have to turn in all the financial aid forms usually by the end of the year, right? But I know that there's bunches of families, and again, I'm not going to have you raise your hands or say something in the chat because I know there's a lot of you out there, right? But there's a lot of families that wait until October, right? They take the longest extension that they can, right? First, it's until May, and then they take an extension till July, and then September, and then October, right? And then it's already 2026, right? So again, this is not the year to do that because they need your 2024 tax return. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay. And then again, if you really look at it, it's literally a year from when your taxes are due to when the college decisions are coming out. So there's a lot of things that need to get done during that time frame. The college applications need to get done, the financial aid applications need to get done. There's just so much that needs to get done. Do not wait. Okay. Now, how can we help? We are always here to support you guys, right? If you have questions, reach out on Facebook, reach out on Discord, email, text, whatever. If we're reaching out to you, reach back out to us and ask the questions that you have. The one thing that I really, really, really consider is that, or that I want to tell families about, is that you need to sign up for a consultation. Our consultations are 100% free, right? If we can help you, we will tell you about our service. If we cannot help you, I will also tell you and send you on your way, right? So at least you have a peace of mind in knowing if someone can help you or not, right? Now, if you, again, are seniors, because I did see some people say that they're a senior right now, right? If you are in the midst of kind of doing your financial aid and you haven't turned it in yet, do not turn anything in. Do not click anything, right? Until you talk to me, right? If you are a senior, right, you can reach out to me either on Facebook, on Discord, on whatever, right? Reach out to me. I will book you a consultation as early as 9 p.m. tonight, right? That's when my last meeting ends for tonight, right? But I will book it for you because I need to talk to you to make sure that you are in the right space, okay? So if you are interested in kind of talking to us about our financial aid edge program, you can text money to 949-298-6234. If you're interested in our coaching program or our college app intensive, you can text the college to 949-298-6234. Okay, so I'm going to have this up. And for those that are still here, I actually have a special offer. For those that are watching the recording, you do not get this special offer because you did not take time out of your evening. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. For those that are in Facebook land or watching our recording, I wish you guys, a good rest of your week. And for those that are here, stick around for a special discount. Okay.